Hello folks, the Y Guy here. Again, welcome to my home on this very beautiful autumn day. The name of this video is called The Y Guy Explains Outer Darkness. Outer darkness. Now, that term has been used and abused so much and misunderstood within Christian circles almost like nothing else, okay? And I'd like to explain that term and to give some peace to people's hearts, all right? And it's not what you've been taught that it is in Christian circles. It just isn't. You know, not contextually, not in any way, and I'd like to prove that with this video, okay? I'd like to shine some light in that outer darkness, pun intended. What I woke up with a couple mornings ago was a question that was going through my mind, and that's what caused me to do this video. You know, if I were to find two words that best described the exact opposite of the term outer darkness, the question was, what would those two words be? I'm giving just a moment here for you to think about it. I bet you're going to come to the same conclusion I did. How about inner light? There are so many verses within Scripture that talks about that inner light. I couldn't even begin to list them all. Dozens upon dozens of them. I'm going to share 5 of them here in a moment. You know, since I discovered that word flame, that word flame in the Greek, I did a research of that word that's spoken about in the parable of Lazarus and the rich man. That word flame is where we get the word. What words do we get? We get the word flashlight from it, and the reason why is because it's flax in the Greek, and which means flash. And flame, it also means to bring an awareness, light to an understanding about something. That's what flax means. So that's why if you combine flash with the word bringing a light to an understanding, that's why we got the word flashlight from. I hope that made sense. So in other words, if you were to shine a flashlight out into the darkness, out into the outer darkness, if you were to shine, I hope you're catching where I'm going with this. If you would shine that flashlight onto the outer darkness out there, it will bring an understanding to you of what's going on out there, okay? And it would illuminate it. And okay, I'll just continue here. The 5 verses I'm going to share. The first one is in Luke 2:32, a light of revelation to the Gentiles. Who is the light of revelation to the Gentiles? Jesus is the light. Okay, I'm going to come back to that, I think, maybe. John 8:12, then Jesus again spoke to them, saying, I am the light of the world. He who follows me will not walk in the darkness, but will have the light of life. Years ago, I wrote this song called Jesus, Light of Life. I didn't even know it was biblical. I just felt it was. I don't know, I just felt it was the truth. It was when I wrote the song and I sang it. It's a cool Irish song that fun to sing, and you could dance to it. Man, it's hopping. Well, anyway, I was so thrilled years after I wrote the song when I run across it in the Bible. It just thrilled me. Ephesians 5:8, for you were formerly darkness. You were formerly in darkness. I could easily say you were formerly in outer darkness. But now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of the light. Colossians 1:12, giving thanks to the Father who has qualified us to share in the inheritance of the saints in light. Now, how did he qualify us? By Him depositing the gift of faith in us in His timing. He is going to qualify all mankind. Okay? But in Colossians, he's speaking to those at that time, that point in time, that the awareness, a light off in their head, they're catching it. Anyway, and to share in the saints of light. 1 Thessalonians 5:5, for you are all sons of light and sons of day. We are not of night nor of darkness. You see, every one of these is talking about an awareness. They really are. And if you read all of them, they all are. Okay? Now, the expression outer darkness occurs just 3 times in the Bible, in Matthew 8:12, Matthew 22:13, and Matthew 25:30. I'm going to start with the latter, the last one, 25:30. It's a parable, and by the way, 2 out of 3 of these are parables, and that's an important issue in of itself. Okay, the parable of the talents, of 25:30, how God is going to basically take away the talents from one and give to the other. Well, guess what? That happened. That happened in Lazarus and the rich man. That's what that whole parable is about, too. Because Lazarus represented the Gentiles, okay? And Abraham represented the Jews, and Abraham gave all the talents to Lazarus. Well, they didn't call him talents in that parable, but I hope you're catching that. Throw out the worthless slave into the outer darkness in that place. And he used a strong figure of speech, just saying it's such a sad thing. It's a sad thing that you're not catching it, that you're not getting this. Fellow Jews, fellow Hebrew, you're not catching this, because they'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth. You know, it's so sad. It's just a strong figure of speech. That's all it is, folks. Now, Matthew 8:12 it's about the centurion who had more faith about his daughter being healed. Remember that story where he ran up to Jesus and saying, would you come? I've heard, you know, through the Jewish grapevine that you can heal people. Would you come and heal my daughter? She's lying in her deathbed. And Jesus was marveled at his faith, basically, and his trust and belief in Jesus' ability. So he sent him on his way, and his daughter was healed, obviously. But as he was talking to his fellow countrymen, he looked around him and he said, but the sons of the kingdom, talking about them, will be cast into outer darkness, which they were, because if they weren't in outer darkness, they wouldn't have crucified Christ in the first place. Hope you're catching this. Okay, in that place, again, there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. It's such a sad place, a sad state of affair to be in. Now, outer darkness is about, in the last one, in Matthew 22:13, it's that parable about that wedding feast. How outer darkness is about an area that's outside a well-illuminated, well understood, awareness, a banquet hall where where there was darkness. It was outside of that place. Anyway, and it was about a guy who snuck in, and he wasn't wearing the proper garments, or at which he was cast into outer darkness. He was separated from the feast. All right. And then the king said to the servants, bind him hand and foot, throw him out into outer darkness, in that place where there'll be a sad place where there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Okay, in conclusion, closing this video here, in every case of these three verses, no hell was mentioned. So why is it Christians think that this is talking about hell? Nothing was mentioned. And there's something else too. Jesus is one who spoke all of them, who we're quoting here. So Jesus was a Jew. Jews don't believe in hell. They're just contextually, it's all about the house of Israel. Okay? Because Jesus said he only came but for the house of Israel. He said it. At least the sandal wearing Jesus. Well, thank heaven he's glorified now and he came for all of us. But at that point in time in history, he came only for the house of Israel, and he was only speaking to them in parables. So they wouldn't get it. Why? Because they were supposed to be in outer darkness. If they weren't in outer darkness, they would have probably accepted Christ at that point in time, and Jesus would have just been another ruler of another country. And that's what all Palm Sunday is all about, them laying palms down, making him king, and all that. If that would have fulfilled, that would have happened, where would we be as Gentiles right now? Think about it. Everything is just common sense. It just makes sense. If you don't jump to conclusions that outer darkness means something that it doesn't mean. Simple as that, okay? The context of outer darkness in all three verses, like I said, is just a strong figure of speech referring a status. Really, think about it. Just a status of the mind, because an awareness comes to the mind. It's a status of either getting it or not getting it, a mind that has been illuminated. There's that key word that is used in the word flame, illuminated with truth and the reality of the situation and the reality of who Christ is or was at that time and is today. Those kind of things. So if you disagree with me on this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs down to confirm that. And if you're going to leave a comment, please be polite so we can have an adult conversation. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and leave me a decent comment, okay? Usually I don't get too many decent comments, but that's okay. Consider subscribing to this channel, all right? And look me up on Facebook. I have a group called the Why Guy Group, which is a private group. I ask 3 questions to join the group. They go along the lines of, are you like the rest of us? Do you see through a glass dimly? you know, and you want a safe place to talk about stuff, you know, that's all it is. That's all the questions are. And I have an open timeline, public timeline under the name of John Nathan Jones. Look me up there. I hope this made sense. Thank you for viewing.